Hi, this is a brief video and photos taken at the time of the build phase of the Bund at Winterbourne that took place in 2016 and that was started in April and was finished some 6 months later in October. It's a neat way of recording the build over time. We had a terrible flood event in late July 2007 when the village was flooded. It was a mini Boscastle event for us. It took a lot of effort to create a plan and then to get this right the way through to the final build some 9 years later. It was costed at over £500,000 to protect the village. During this time, our original design concept of creating a holding pond to act as a temporary storage device to hold the water back and then release into the water channel at a controlled release rate, such that the stream did not overflow and cause damage as it did in 2007, and importantly to also help those downstream once the water had left us, where it caused even more damage in Bagnor, Newbury and finally into Thatcham. The scheme is designed to hold the equivalent of 8 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Modern thinking now recognises the importance of creating natural upstream barriers to help manage, mitigate and control flood events, especially as a result of flash flooding. This is the view looking over the Winterbourne Downs landscape in our area of outstanding natural beauty. Some 3 years after the work finished, you would never know that the scheme had been put in place. To provide an insight into why this location was selected, here are some photographs from wet events in 2013 and 14. The stream, which is the Winterbourne, so it rises and falls with the water table and the chalk aquifer. This is the view of the field chosen to act as the temporary holding pond pre-build. You will see at high water the bridge that crosses the road into the village. From the field in the stream is at maximum capacity. Any more water in the stream, it only has one place to go. It has to jump the bridge and flow down the village road. That's what happened in 2007. A massive surge of water jumped the bridge. It created a mini tsunami that was 3 feet in height at its peak as it travelled down through the village. The 4.5 inches of rain that fell in a 4-hour period from 9 a.m. on that eventful Friday 21st of July 2007, a so-called 1 in a 167-year event. Some 2 hours after the event, all the water had basically disappeared. But in that 15 to 30 minutes whilst it travelled through the village, it caused huge damage to the properties, especially on the east side of the village. The field chosen for the Bund is a natural bowl. It needed earthworks on just one side to complete the holding pond. In the middle of the Bund is a simple flow mechanism that controls and releases the water at a flow rate that the stream can handle without flooding its banks. The stream has also been redirected to its original pre-1975 site location to make the scheme work best. Here's the scheme around the time it was completed. When the scheme build started, the water table was very high, and so the foundations for the water flow control, a gating system made of concrete with a conduit, meant heavy-duty pumps were needed to keep the site dry for concrete laying and drying. The work started first on the north-sided gate and then moved to the south-sided gate, and then the infill of the conduit made up of standard concrete pipes, and then the final section being crafted on site. Whilst the concrete work was being performed, the earth bund was laid out. It's basically a U-shaped structure, initially a mixture of an inner core of chalk with earth on the side, and then over time this was built up to form a height of about 6 feet, little more, 2 meters in height, around the south side to act as the missing side to the horseshoe to complete the holding pond. A lot of earth and chalk were sourced locally from the site location and then re-landscaped as the work progressed. As the earth bund grew in height, the concrete flow gates slowly disappeared into the ground, and as such it appeared as if they were actually lost. Towards the end of the build, the Winterbourne stream location was moved and was resited and reconnected to the existing flow channel. It gently meanders through the stream and enters the control gates in a way that the outflow goes straight into the bridge rather than historically taking a 90-degree turn. Now, 3 years after the build, the scheme is basically lost in the surrounding countryside, a very positive result. The Bund has yet to be tested in anger. It will be very interesting to see how it copes when a flood type event does eventually take place. The partners in the scheme are shown at the start and end of the video. Their support is really appreciated. We had an official opening in October 2016. Richard Benyon came and acted as the ribbon cutter.